Welcome back, punters, to another rapid fire. This week, of course, we're covering Randwick and Caulfield from Saturday, or at least the majors anyway. Good morning, good afternoon, I should say now, to Jason Azzopardi and John Walter.
G'day, boys. How are you, Skipper? Love the shirt.
Thanks, mate.
We've got my Jason Azzopardi shirt on today.
Talking about freaks, how good was Thunder last week?
Fucking what? Why?
Did a good job.
What a horse. What a horse. What a horse.
I think we sort of summarised that in the show, didn't we, Jason? That sticky barrier. And
I hope everyone
Anamo's skipping clear for JW, and then we'd come and torture him on the line.
Anamo, get his name right. If you're going to torture me, at least get his name right.
Save that one for
Alligator blood. Alligator blood. What am I talking about?
So it was a good day, really good day. Very exciting race, and I think everyone loves potting racing. There's some bloody weight for age ranks at the moment are great. I think about some of the headline horses we have. This group, hopefully they can stay together, and they're taking each other on, which is even better. No one's avoiding each other. Great to see Annabelle throw Zaki in this week if it runs. It's really exciting. It's going to be a great Cox Plate this year.
Indeed. Okay, let's start off with the. Are you just going to replay this?
I think we should. Can I want it because I haven't seen. Can I have the torture on Walter's face because it pays even more? It's like a boost. It's like a
John winning. The
$8 is looking for that.
It was all over here. Once Zara starts getting out of the saddle like that, hit him at the back of the head. Get over him, son. This is when AC/DC started.
What about when yours is won by neck and it's got the worst bob in history just to give me a second chance at life? And I still.
This is when AC/DC came on in the Az's household. The head started rocking.
Well, we had something similar to contend with in Sydney there with Shades of Rose just beating that electric.
And you were spot on there. Your assessment of that race. Well done to you.
No, I sent you a message of congratulations, didn't I, Jason, straight after the race?
You did, mate. You did. It was an elite bet by you at $8 each way, mate.
We both had great bets, and the best horse probably won. So
elite betting, but the best horse did win.
All right,
so we're going to kick off at Caulfield. The rail is out 6. The rain right now, Jason. We've got a bit of mail through a contact of yours that it's between a 5 and a 6, and still a bit more to come tomorrow and race day.
Yeah, I don't think that riser reading's right at the moment. They copped a bit under 10 mils last night. And the forecast is for a few showers Friday, and it says a very high chance of showers Saturday. So, look, it's Bayside Caulfield. Whether it hits there or not will be the key.
Yep.
I'm basing today on it being rain affected, sort of 6-7 range. So bear that in mind as we're talking through things.
So slow track 6 metre rail. I'm going to suggest that the inside is going to be somewhat compromised. I don't think that's going to be ideal.
I would agree with that. I think at Caulfield, that's definitely how it will play. Yep.
Okay, so we're going to start off with race 5, I believe, the 1,000 Guineas Prelude. John, the market.
The Mighty Boogie Dancer, $6. She's Lickety Split, $6. Miss Hellfire, $8. Mumbai Jewel, $10. $11 Hope at Hand, $11 Revolutionary Miss, $11 Russian Conquest, $13 Bonheur, $13, what is that? Presinia March, $13 Sumatra, $14 Seven Vales. It's in both cities still, I think. Vagrant, $34, Celestial Spirit, $41. Is he definitely in both? Denied, $51, Foxy Gold, $71, Love Nest, $81, 101, Call Sign, Charlotte.
So the current favourite is the New Zealander there, the She's Lickety Split. 4 starts, 3 wins, comes here from the Andrew Forsman yard. Do you know anything about it, Jason?
I'll have a look at the replays of it. It won a Group 1 at Ellerslie in the autumn. It beat all those orange horses, whatever the Tiaka shark colours, where it showed a lot of fight to kick up and win that. And I watched its last win where it ran down Pacific Dragon, had Miss Courtney Barnes on. So that's D-Lane's an upgrade. just very hard to line up the form. It will handle the wet, no doubt on that. It carries the weight penalty here, and you've just basically got to take a view of whether you're going to pot it or you think it's just better form. It's very hard to line up. So I'll probably look away from it personally, but doesn't mean it can't win.
Yeah, okay. And what else do you have to say about the race?
Great. It's a really easy one to start, my lord. So found this very difficult. It does have a long tail. So I guess the way I've approached this is what we've seen in Melbourne so far is the Sydney 3-year-old form is superior. So I've defaulted to that. I'm not sure if it's running here. So I guess my top pick in the race, with not a hell of a lot of confidence with Zach Spain on, is Miss Hellfire. Her fifth first up in that Zuccarino spacewalk race was fantastic. The last 100 metres was she ate the line. Then she went to a midweek open class fillies and mares, and I thought she ran pretty well there. I'm bemused by the jockey engagement because I think she's the best three of Snowden's here. I think the 1,400 metre third up suits each way, I think, is in with a good chance. Revolutionary Miss was good running on at Moonee Valley when rail was a better space to be. Snowden's always thought this filly needed ground. Blinkers go on. I don't think 14 is going to be that big a disadvantage on this day with Jai on, so I'm looking for her to improve. And Seven Veils was one. I loved her first up run in that Zougotcha in secret race, her last 100 metres out wide, running home with Wolverine. And then I'm happy to forgive that absolute swamp run in that North Star last race, even though she won in a heavy 10 prior. I wonder if she may improve here. So going to take a punt on the Sydney form. One out wide, if anyone was looking. I thought Bon Hur is not a bad filly, maybe biting off more than she can chew here. But she's out of Benaria, Group 1 mare, and I'm Invincible. I think she's got a lot of talent. Maybe at odds she's won. So I'm not really helping. That's how I'm seeing the race. But, the New Zealand horse or Boogie Dancer could end up winning. But I'm going to spec those three Sydney fillies.
Okay, so I think this is a really tough race. I've got Boogie Dancer a very narrow favourite. I think it's got a tricky map. It's probably going to have to go back or be caught wide, which worries me a little. But I've sort of tried to account for that. She's Lickety Split. I would have in there sort of obviously with the big query. I'm generally a little bit against the sprinters from NZ. So I'm going to say I'm prepared to risk her. I think the one I've landed on, which I think is tremendous value if it starts here in Melbourne, which I'm assuming they probably would, is Seven Veils. It just total forget run.
I'll pull you up. I just got a message. I just messaged him. He said definitely going Randwick.
Okay.
Going Randwick?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that changed it. So that was going to be my only tip in the race. So forget that then. And that doesn't mean that I think it's a tip at Randwick, but yeah, I just thought it was well suited here. Miss Hellfire, Grant is a chance. Presenia March is in there. Hope at Hands in there. Mumbai Jewels in there. It's a no bet for race for me now that Seven Veils is not going to be there, I'd say, unless this race really changes complexion by race day. I'll stay out. John?
Yeah, not much to add. I found the same horse as a Miss Hellfire, but it even scares me more when you fellas saying the inside's going to be pretty smelly there with Zach Spain. I think he struggled to sort of manoeuvre the right path with this horse, and it's probably a horse that's 1,400 maybe its top. So I don't think it's one that's going to sort of power through a bias and be able to overcome it. But I think like if that Roots form, people might look at that and see Wednesday form at Warwick Farm and think it's pretty steady. But I think Roots is a pretty good horse, and she'd be giving these sorts of horses a lesson, even though she's a 4-year-old mare. But and even Sumatra's a pretty talented horse. If it lobs down there, I looked through the Melbourne form and found it very tough to be with. Even Boogie Dancers looks the strongest horse, but it's like 6th run first prep. I know Moody's a genius, but it's not an easy task. So yeah, I'd probably same. I'd be staying out, but Sumatra interests me.
Okay, let's move on to the Rupert Clark race 7 at 1,400 metres, and of course this is a handicap. Look, the talking point here, I suppose, John, is the favourite, which you'll cover now with the market. Most likely won't get a start, so that changes the race completely from my point of view. I still did think it was a bit short from a punter's point of view. I don't think 9 to 4 is the right price. It should be longer, but did record a very impressive rating figure at its first start here in Australia. So anyway, we'll run through the market, John, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, we'll be getting about 20 questions here on Monday about deductions and friggin' sports bet and everything. But I wish I win $3.20, $6 Ayrton, $6.50 Tuvalu, $6.50 Showmanship, $8.50 Dragon Leap, 11, which is another emergency, $11 Halal, 13 I Am Superman, 14 Graceful Girl, 15 Shaliot, 16 Sinawan, 18 Asar, 21 Banker's Choice, 21 Buffalo River, 21 Dallas, and 21 Law of Indices, 21 Red Cam Man. Looks like no one's got any idea here. $26 Age of Chivalry, 26 Call Sign Math, 31 Just Folk, 34 Open Minded, and that obviously the prices will change dramatically if there is not a couple of scratchings.
So, Jason, do you want to kick off, given that you got the Melbourne Honours?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, look, let's do the race, assuming no scratchings. I think is a bit. I think I wish I win. I would have clearly on top of it if it was in the race, but I find it very hard to see any of these horses scratching. Gone through them one by one to look for reasons, dual acceptors, anything. I just can't see it happening. I wish I win top pick, and I'd have Dragon Leap second pick, and they're both emergencies. So excluding those horses. This race, the setup, it's going to be dynamite speed here. You'll have Buffalo River, which can't control itself. Tuvalu's a go-forward horse with a low weight. They're going to want to utilise that. Red Can Man's drawn 17. It's going to go forward. And even Halal might go forward from 20. So I expect it to be fast speed. I could find a reason to pen every horse in this race. But that doesn't help with who's going to win it. So what I've come up with in a fast-paced race is I'm going to back it at sort of 25-30 to 1 Sinawan here. This horse is a really strong going horse. Is going to benefit from a really fast speed here. If you go back to last spring, its first up run where it ran 6th. In that race behind Age of Chivalry. It was a bit plain, and it sort of reminded me of its first up run of this prep. And then second up in a really fast run race, it was very, very impressive, smashing I Am Superman and Streets of Avalon. That was a weight for age race there. And you go to Ayrton, the favourite. Yeah, it was impressive when it won that Vic Handicap first up, 1,400 Caulfield, beating Streets of Avalon and some cats, but he got 5 kilos off Streets of Avalon that day and got a PR. So for me, I can sort of line Sinawan's foam up, even through an Ayrton here. So I think at a big price, look, it's drawn 3, which I don't think is going to be the best spot on the day, but you just got to bank on Mellon being smart enough to keep it off the rail and find the right spot. At big odds, I'm backing it. The other one, and, I might be putting a bit of credibility on the line here that I'm backing, but it's huge odds, so bear with me, is Dalasan. I know they got top weight, but the weights are fairly compressed here. Another I think is going to benefit from a fast speed. There's only 2 lengths off the winner in this race last year when I'm Thunderstruck smashed him on the turn, or they smashed each other. This horse has beaten 2.5 lengths in a Doncaster. I'm talking the Mr. Brightside and I'm Thunderstruck Doncaster. It's just been running against the elite. I love it that first up it's gone to Adelaide, and gone there and had a bunny to chase and really attack the line and won. Might be the turning point for him. So second up here, I'm also going to back Dalasan. It's $34. And the one I think the setup works really good for, though it's 11 to 14, is Showmanship. He's just a winner. Wet's okay. I want to be on something here that's sort of 3 wide, you know, with cover is, I think, going to be the ideal spot in this race and where the winner will come from. I think Ollie's your man, and I'm going to back it. So a few at big odds there. I can't have Ayrton at the price, and I can find a reason not to back all the others in at lower odds. If it was dry, Halal would be right in it, but I think the track's going to be against it.
Okay, so let's default back to that position, assuming I Wish I Win runs. Obviously top pick, but have to be against it just on price. Wouldn't want to be laying it, but necessarily, but just wouldn't want to be backing it. Look, that sort of changes or opens the race up. I think the problem with Ayrton is a sticky gate back on the inside. For Ed, I think it could easily get buried on the inside and have all sorts of issues. I'm not saying it can't win. I just think that the current price is very ordinary, and it would be one that I think I'd be wanting to oppose if it was around that 4-1 mark. Showmanship does appeal as a horse that could well be suited. Here is one of the chances. I don't think there's any compelling value there at all. In fact, I think it's probably just a touch unders. Two to lose another. Look, I Am Superman's got a pretty awkward gait, but it's got a bit of talent and probably would prefer it drier. And then sort of ASR and Just Folk and Charlotte and Dragon Leap. There's just a string of them. Really long tail here, so it'll be interesting to see what the final field looks like. And probably the favourite doesn't run, and we don't have any scratchings, or we may only have one scratching. So look, for me right now, I don't think there's a bet in the race. But if Ayrton's 4-1, I'll be opposing it.
I've
John?
got a double figures Ayrton.
Me too.
Me
I'm
too.
agreeing with the great man Azza. I do agree a bit. It's good, except for last week. Fuck, why didn't we agree that week? Yeah, I think Dallasan's the only horse I can back. I just love these big handicaps, finding the horse that's going to be strong. There's always pressure. It's just such a weird race, probably because where it's positioned in the carnival, that there's so many horses not ready for a strong 1400 here, whereas Dallasan, as he said, it's had the 1400. This is not a deep race. It's drawn wide to sort of get that run that we're kind of looking for here. Top weight in this handicap's not really too scary when you look at the horses sort of down in the weight. So I think he's over the odds. I agree. And if Dragon's Leap sneaks in, it was the other horse that had the good setup. So I think they were the two I'd like to find. Obviously, I Wish I Win looks really, possibly something special. And it's priced accordingly for mine, even if it does sneak in. So I think I'd be with the other two just at the prices if they all lined up.
Okay, let's move on to Sydney, where we've got a Randwick meeting. Currently probably in the 5 range. There's a bit of rain around. Jason?
Top sport.
Yeah.
We will talk about Top Sport.
Yeah.
Now that you put that up, of course, our good friends at Top Sport. If you don't have an account, punters, get yourself sorted there. The limits do apply. Of course, tomorrow we've got some black type in that Group 2, Group 3 range in Sydney. So that's minimum to win 5,000 early, 10,000 late. Of course, Tristan or one of the team there will sort you out if you don't have an account already. Okay, so let's go to Randwick. Here we have the track currently that's about a 5, rail back in the true. And I would say that I want to be against leaders and obviously horses on the inside in the home straight. That's my read on it. Race 6, of course, we're going to start with the T-Rose, aren't we?
Yeah, I had race 5 up like a genius, but we've got race 6 now. The T-Rose. North Star Lass went well back. We'll win a 460. Wolverine 7, Paris Dior 7. Probably that's why I haven't got them in order. Here we go. Zugotcha 270, but North Star Lass 460. Willinga Beast 6, Paris Dior 7, Wolverine 7. 7 Vales 18, 31 Madame Pomeroy, 31 Pantanario, 61 Renaissance Woman, 67 Grace's Secret, 71 Ningaloo, and Byron Bell 101.
Look, I might start here. To me, there's 3 hopes, really. There's only 3 hopes. I'm completely against Paris Door. You can get on that. You can get on Wolverine. Look, Wolverine is one of those horses, though, that I suppose could improve. there was some excuses there in that run and some things where you would suggest that there was more merit to it, but I just have to be opposed to it at the current prices. Around that 9 to 2, Paris Dior and Wolverine are just gobbling up percentage, and that's creating value, in my opinion, for horses like Willinga Beast, and to a lesser extent, Zoo Gotcha, and I'm a little bit neutral on North Star Lass simply because he does look like the default leader, and I just want to be against leaders. But at 1,400 metres, it can be a different story. So I'm saying near the 3. I'd be happy enough to make a book around those 3 and just oppose those other ones I don't like, or oppose the other ones I don't like. Right now, though, the best value for me is Willinga Beast, no doubt, and that's my position on the race. John?
Yeah, I'm a little bit similar. I think Zugotch is the one that's insanely short. Thought it. I sort of found it first up by Act of God, and it got the Act of God run, and maybe it's just the in secret behind it that's got it this short. But I think North Star Lass has got far more upside at a strong 1,400. It's had that extra run. It's going to be tougher in a finish, I think. Maybe Willie Pike off and James on helped Zugotcha, but he gave it a pretty good ride there the other day. Willinga Beast right there, I think he'll run well, and I think he's probably second pick. I think there's value too in 7 Vales, and I think even Pantanario can be forgotten. I think it's snuck into this. What's that? Sorry, it's snuck into this race, via a different setup, and I think it'll just trail behind the leaders here, and it's a sneaky sort of 30-40 to 1 chance of Gaze that's going to be in a nice spot stalking the leaders. So I think North Star Lass clearly on top, and then I'm Pantanario and 7 Vales, the value, Willinga Beast right there. But I'm against Zugotcha at the price. And what was the other one? Paris Dior. I'm with you there.
Look, I find it hard to be against Zugotcha as a chance in the race. The thing that worries me as a punter is this, Wallace second up business off a win, the break in between. Even if they trial, it's not necessarily a plus, which of course this horse has. But I find it hard to get rid of it.
It's only the price that's killing me. $2.70 just seems insane. Yeah.
Yeah, 270 is very short. So for me, I like Willinga Beast from Zugotcha and North Star Lass. That's my order. But I definitely want to be against those other 2 I mentioned. They're just, to me, imposters, and I don't think Paris Dior's made the age improvement. Jason?
All right.
Just pumped about the race. Normally he's ready to go if he's pumped about the race.
Yeah, not a lot to add, guys. So nothing more, no more insight. I loved how Wolverine got home last start. It's got form through that. She's lickety split. So I'll be interested to see how it goes for the race at 15 minutes later in Melbourne. 7 Vales. I just wonder if they're flight stakes horses rather than this 14. So I don't have a lot of insight here.
I reckon they're both more suited next time, but both of those, Wolverine and 7 Vales, might both be flight stakes, target horses. I'm not saying they can't win this race. I'm saying that's definitely their grand final.
Yeah.
Next.
Okay, let's move on to race 7, the George Main. John, what's the market?
I was a little bit surprised when I saw this, and I'm probably Zaki's biggest hater, but $1.95 Animo, $3.20 Zaki, $9 Fangirl, 18 Profondo, 19 Hinge, 20 Duet, 26 Converge, 26 Ice Bath, 26 Montefilia, 101 Maximal.
You hate Animo?
Well, I'm not. No, I'm Zaki's biggest detractor. I'm the one who normally pots Zaki. I was surprised it wasn't a little bit closer in the market, just from where they're going to be in the run and all that.
John, so tell us about your thoughts.
I'll go. Yeah, I just thought, Zaki just looks the default leader again. They've obviously said on Profondo they're not going to give this horse a dig, and there's nothing else, maybe Hinge, that could possibly push the tempo, but it just looks like he gets a procession again, and then it's up to James McDonald whether he wants to use Animo up, ride it upside down again, and probably sit outside Zaki, or try and flum the 1-1 or something, or get you sort of in no man's land if he doesn't. But Zaki's certainly the one that's going to lob on the bunny and get full control again like it did last start. And for me, that means it has to be closer to Animo in the betting. But it's not a race that really excites me, and I don't really like Zaki, but I just think he's really well placed here.
Look, I'm saying to Zaki he's under the odds, and from my point of view, I don't have Zaki coming back as well in the last two preparations, probably anywhere near what some others might have them. I think, Zaki was very flattered last time. He got perfect control under the conditions on the day where there was a big advantage to be on pace and on the inside. I'm not saying it can't win. It's clearly the second pick, but 2-1 or whatever it is now, that's under the odds.
This event will start in 60 seconds.
I definitely, you got a bit of action going in there on the side there, Jason.
Got the Bet Angel on, sorry there, mate. Yeah, it's
that's all right. Look, I think Anamo's clearly the horse to beat. I'm not saying the map's good for it. I don't think it is. In fact, I think the opposite. But I still say it's clearly the horse to beat. I don't think I'd want to be charging and taking 10-9, but I do think that this is the dominant horse in the race and deserves clearly to be the favourite, but perhaps not as short as it is. Look, Fangirl's run first up was full of merit from my point of view. It's had the 28 days off since, which I'm not really that concerned about. In this particular instance, it's a longer price Waller runner. It trialled since, and you would say on face value of it, that was a bit disappointing. But if it was to run up to that first up figure, it deserves to be shorter than its current price. And Douay, who really just wasn't suited at all, first up there over 1,400 metres, and who we do know can easily improve. Second up, in fact, should have won last time second up before it went to Flemington and smashed them that day. That I was very keen on it. So I'm sort of taking the view in the race that I'd like to back the favourite, but at better odds. I definitely want to be against Zaki, and I'd like to have something on Fangirl and Douay. That's the way I see it anyway. Jason?
I think Animo is the best horse in Australia, and I just love him, and I think he will win. Again, he'll find a way. I mean, he's a star, and that win first up was something. I think there were some good runs behind it. I agree with you on Fangirl. I went out to look at it. I just can't see how they turn the table over a mile at Randwick. I don't think they're too positive on him. I was going
to say, how do you think they ride him, or do you think it doesn't matter? Yeah,
I think they'll go back. I think they'll sit midfield or something. I don't think he'll sit outside Zaki, and then come down the middle. That's how I sort of see the race going. I'd be happy to take the current price, and if I was having a bet in the race. So there must be a doubt whether Zaki runs, mustn't there?
They are saying if it's too wet, they're a chance of pulling the pin.
Because they got the Underwood. They got the Underwood next Sunday, which would work for their program too, over 1,800 metres the day after the Granny at Sandown, which I think he may have won it last year, but beat probably on a 3-horse race from memory. So, but also I'm thunderstruck, and Mr. Brightside are going to that race too. So it's no easier going to that race.
Well, I mean, like a mile second up, you go here, wouldn't you? Even if it's a little bit wet.
Yeah, I mean, depends how wet it is, right?
Mm.
Don't know. I hope they run here. I'd love to see these two race each other. I think it'd be great.
Agree.
John, so you're saying that you think Zaki's the right price?
I just think I think it's a dirty wait for age race where they're just going to lead and walk, and it's going to get every favour. And I think it's going to go very close to winning. And I hate the horse, so I would never back it. But I just think he's extremely well set up. He's got cover from Profondo and him sitting behind him that couldn't beat him in a sit sprint. And then maybe Montefilia and Maximal or something may roll forward if Animo doesn't. So to me, he's going to get sort of a 4 or 5 length break on Animo if they're not positive, and that's enough to sort of have him in the finish. But it's a bit of a nothing race for me. It'll be a good spectacle.
Well, for me, it's just make a book and oppose Zaki by doing that, backing those three. Okay, let's move on to race 8. I think we're up to. Of course, the shorts. And, this is a race. John, market.
2:30 Nature Strip. Back. Is it going over the funeral? Or is it staying here? It's not going back. It's staying. Nature Strip 230, 350 Eduardo, $7 Marzu, $9 Lost and Running, 14 Classic Legends, 17 Overpass, 20 Masked Crusader, 34 Ethelric, 41 Andamar, and 90s plus the rest. Oh, you should mention Shelby 66 because it probably won't get a mention in the call on Saturday, $101.
Who wants to start?
I'll start because I'll be quick. I think it's a very easy race to make money out of. I'll be broadly level staking the top two. Pretty much this is just rinse, repeat. The Everest is like becoming a bit boring, isn't it? The same horses as go around every year. The who gets the slots, it's totally there's a total lack of interest in it. I think Eduardo with the fitness on his side, I think 1100 metres suits it. He's my top pick. Nature Strip, it's the first time I've obviously seen him off this prep. He'd normally be really soft first up, but and normally second up before the Everest. He doesn't run necessarily that well. So got to save on him. Be amazed if anything even got near these two. It's an easy race for me.
Yeah, look, that's the problem for me, the whole race. That is that I only would want to back Nature Strip or Eduardo, but I don't want to back them. I just think that, they're going to be obviously the two in front, you'd think. We do know that Lost and Running on its day has got a lot of ability, and we do know that Marzu is very much an improved horse, but is first up and is going to be on a sticky track, and probably that's against it, but it does get a nice run behind them. Look, I think I'll probably stay out, odds dependent on Saturday. And what the market's telling us about Nature Strip and so forth late. So to me, this is a very much bet late if you're going to bet. I couldn't have any of those others gobbling up percentage like Classic Legend and others. I just think that it's just insane taking 11 to 1 hit.
I just think $4 Eduardo is just an amazing price. Like I just,
it's a good price. It's a good price.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was going to be. I sort of priced it myself, sort of 230, 280, the two of them, and then I saw the price. I went, oh, and one wasn't odds on. I'm thinking, okay, well, just back both, and I don't think I'll lose. But
it loses. It loses Nash, which is not a plus for me. Nature Strip, really, how do you price it? If you priced it off either it's the TJ win or the Royal Ascot performance, if you got the figures there, then you'd be saying that it's the moral. But we know that first up is potentially an issue for it. As in it just doesn't run to its peak. So it's a bit hard to, how do you actually, what assumptions do you make? Do I assume that Nature Strip's going to return as its best figure first up, which for me is a couple of preps ago, or do I think that it's going to return more like its last first up effort, in which case it's probably around the right price? And Eduardo, what do I do with it? Is it going to losing Nash to Brenton? There's probably £3 there for me difference, and going to 1100 metres, obviously with Nature Strip in the race where there's going to be some pressure, what happens there? Are they both going to overdo it potentially, and a horse like Marzu gets them? So it's not a great betting opportunity for me, I don't think, this race.
Yeah, I don't think Nate. I think I'd be laying Nature Strip if it wasn't for the UK prep. I think barrier 2 is for it. I think its best runs are when it draws wider. I can just amble across. I just think Eduardo is the value bet of the day. I know it's only $4. I just think it's huge overs in this race. I get the Nash thing. I totally agree. But I if the best, whoever beats it wins, Eduardo.
He's just got everything. Like even the barrier's unfuck-upable. It's a bad word to use, but he's got like Nature Strip jumps and wants to go keen, he can sit off it. If Overpass wants to go fast, he can sit off it. He can't end up in a bad spot, Eduardo. He's had a run. He loves the wet. He's fitter. He was a bit keen first up. He's probably going to improve from that, which is not like him first up, even though he went well. He's going to go like a rocket. And I thought the trial of Nature Strip shows the biggest difference between how, like, you watch it absolutely trucking, couldn't hardly stop it, and overpasses nearly busted in the trial. They run really fast time. Like, that's what's going to happen to the rest of these horses. The class of them is so superior for mine. I don't think they can go too fast because they'll just keep going and nothing can run over the top of them. I think I agree with Jason, like $4-ish. Eduardo just seems insane. And for me the way I bet in life, to be saying I want to save on something at evens or whatever it is, and I'd be happy to do it, I just can't agree more.
Yeah, look, they look the obvious too, I know, but it's just, to me, there's not enough edge to bet at this point in time.
Too easy.
What price is a price for you on Eduardo, Paul?
Oh, look, I think the $4 is not the problem. I'd want to back both of them, and what price am I going to be able to get the other? And I just want to see what happens between now and Saturday too, in terms of conditions and so forth. So I don't think there's any need to rush in and take the price, is what I'm saying.
Which one's more likely to firm?
Good question.
A lot of that depends on what they want to do with nature strip, this preparation. And we know that obviously the Everest is the target, but does that mean that they're going to try and have it wound up ready, or have they been a bit soft on it since they've come back? It has had to come back from Australia and reacclimatise, and that's probably not an issue now because it's been some time. I suppose the betting answers these questions a lot for me with these first up runners in terms of where they're at.
Fair enough.
Like if for example Marzu and Lost and Running were easy on the fair, and there wasn't any genuine support there, then that would give me more confidence with taking the bracket.
I guess I just penned, and this is a question. I dismissed Lost and Running at 1100. That was sort of my view. Don't know what you guys think about that.
I just don't think it's as good as the other two either. And I think he needs all favours, whereas a bit of a wet track and giving a run to Eduardo and positioning run and all sorts is just too much.
Look, Eduardo's got the race fitness edge, right? So if you want to go with that narrative and you're happy with that, we've gone from Nash, who clearly gets the best out of this horse, to Brenton, and you think that Brenton can replicate that, and that's no real great disadvantage, then you would have to go with Eduardo. But then Eduardo too was the beneficiary in a sense of the pattern last time. So it's a sticky race for me. It's so many different ways to take it.
And question for you guys, just to not necessarily this race, but also just generally, that Andermatt was absolutely truckloaded against Eduardo first up. Thoughts on that plunge and sort of looks like they're aiming pretty high with it, running it in this race again here.
Look, I've marked it a bit shorter than the current market price, but that doesn't mean it's value when you're talking in that odd spectrum. Admittedly, I've got it around sort of 40 to 1 or something.
They've got a slot, haven't they? So they're probably just trying to see. You've probably got to give it the benefit of the doubt for that last run, that the track was so putrid that you may have had to ride him differently first up. You've got to give the horse another chance to try and measure up to see whether he's your Everest horse, I guess.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, good point. Because I guess Paul Ailey's their only colt who'd be leading the charge, I guess, for that slot. Or could you see In Secret freshening up from a Golden Rose to an Everest, or would she go to Coolmore? Have you heard anything up there?
I haven't heard any, but I don't think they'd go to the Everest, would they?
Well, it's been done before. It was the Coolmore did it with a filly. Timmy rode it with 51. I can't remember. It ran like 4th or something up the fence. I can't remember what it's called. It was probably the second year of the Everest. They've done it a couple of times. Fillies, I think she ran in the Rose too and came back.
Well, I mean, there's not much value in winning a Coolmore for a filly if you've already won a Group 1. So dollars-wise, the Everest is more lucrative. I think the Coolmore is only $1 million race.
Like you say, if they've got a colt that's competitive, it's a no-brainer. But if you've got a filly that can win it and no colt, I think it's definitely not out of the realms of possibility.
Okay.
Okay, interesting race, certainly. In terms of best bets, do we have one?
Eduardo for me.
I think Eduardo's the best value. I'm not going to give a 30 to 1 chance best bet in at Caulfield. I think it's a really tough day at Caulfield. I've got a good mate of mine, Jezza, owns a horse in race 2, and I spruiked Nick Ryan last week, and he won that Group 2. He's a great trainer. It's a maiden going in a strong race, but Port Albert in race 2 will run very well. And I'm looking forward to doing the naturalism because I could, at first glance, I thought Shiraz and Emissary were big prices. So haven't finished those races yet, but there's some other thoughts on the day.
John, what about you?
No, yeah, just Eduardo for me. I think North Star Lass will go pretty close to in the fillies race, but Melbourne too tough for me.
Look for me. I've only got one recommendation on the day, and that is to lay Ayrton.
The place, Paul?
Don't think I'd be laying the place necessarily, but if that sort of strategy tickles your fancy.
I feel like Azza will beat you up there to the market, then he'll take the place on then.
Love aggression. I think if it rains, especially if it rains and it's a 7, I don't think Ayrton's got any chance. Agree thoroughly with you there, but I'm against it as well. I can't have it at the price. Got to double figures.
Yeah, just map and conditions on the day, I think, are really real problems for it. Yeah, every horse can win if things go their way, I suppose, and they've got the underlying ability. But at what 4 to 1 ish, it's a very bad bet from a punter's point of view. You should be double figures, and that's what I'm saying. So it might well blow significantly, in which case I won't be able to lay it. But at this stage, that's what I'm saying. Okay, guys, thanks very much for your input again, as usual. And of course, Monday we've got the review show, John, with yourself on the Sydney program, and of course we'll do a separate segment as we started last week and had a lot of feedback on with Peter Lawrence, reviewing the Melbourne program, or the main Melbourne card through the spring. So see you Monday.
Thank you, boys.
Good luck.
Thank you.